Hello students, this is Mr. Ronnie Banan, and for this session, I will be discussing to you all about trapezoids. So, at the end of the period, define trapezoid, familiarize the different properties of isosceles trapezoid, and apply the properties of isosceles trapezoid to find the unknown value or variable. So, let's get it on. When we say trapezoid, these are quadrilaterals with one pair of parallel sides. These parallel sides are called bases, and the non-parallel sides are called legs. So in my diagram, trapezoid ABCD, the parallel sides are line segment AB and line segment BC. So since they are parallel to each other, we can say that they are also the bases. So we can have this as the base number 1 or the upper base and base number 2 or the lower base. And the non-parallel sides are this segment here, highlighted segment, and also this one. So the legs are line segment AD and line segment BC. They are said to be non-parallel because if you will extend this infinitely in both directions and also this leg, you see they will meet at certain point. So therefore, they are not parallel and they are called the legs. How about isosceles trapezoid? When do we say that a trapezoid is isosceles? The answer is if the legs of a trapezoid are equal, then it is called an isosceles trapezoid. So the two legs must be equal. So this segment and this segment should be congruent so that we can call it an isosceles trapezoid. So we can say now that line segment AD is congruent to line segment BC, and it is an example of an isosceles trapezoid. For example, let's say line segment AD measures 18 centimeters. So it is expected that the other segment also is 18 centimeters. Did you get it? So if yes, let's move on to the properties of isosceles trapezoids. Now, the first property states that the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. When we say base angles, these are angles formed by the bases here. So in the upper base, the angles are angle A and angle B. Those are the base angles in the upper base, and they are congruent. And also in the lower base, we could have angle D and angle C, and they are also congruent. That is the meaning of the first property, that the base angles are congruent. For example, let's say angle A is 75 degrees. So since it is an isosceles trapezoid, we can say that the base angles are congruent. So therefore, angle B is also 75 degrees. Knowing the fact that it is a quadrilateral, how can we know the values of angle D and angle C? Let's recall that in a quadrilateral, the sum of the interior angles is equal to 360 degrees. So, how can we get the two values here? It's very simple. We just have to subtract 360 degrees by the sum of the two angles here. 75 plus 75 is 150 degrees. So, if you subtract it, you will get 210 degrees, and that would be the sum of these two angles here. And since they are congruent to each other, we can divide it by 2. So dividing it by 2, we have 105 degrees for each angle here. Okay, so let's move on. Let's say we have angle A is equal to the quantity 3x plus 5 degrees, and angle B equals the quantity x plus 4 degrees. The question is, what is the value of measure of angle B? Since we know that the measure of angle A here is just equal to the measure of angle B, we can say that this angle A here, by substitution, we have 3x plus 5 is equal to x plus 4. Now, by algebraic manipulation, we could have 3x minus x is equal to negative 5 plus 4. So we have 2x equals negative 1. So x now is equal to negative 1 half. Since we already got the value of x here, we are now ready to get the measure of angle B here. So since the value of x is negative 1 half, this is the value of x, plus 4 equals 7 halves or 3.5 degrees. So therefore, we can say that the measure of angle B here is 3.5 degrees. Next property, it states that the diagonals of isosceles trapezoid are congruent. Let's say that's the first diagonal and second diagonal, they are congruent. For example, diagonal AC is equal to 10 meters, then we can also expect that this diagonal BD is also equal to 10 meters. Example, another. Suppose that line segment AB is equal to 2x plus 5 inches and line segment BD equals 24 inches. What is the value of x? So we are trying to get the value of x. Since it is an isosceles trapezoid and we know that their diagonals are congruent, so we can equate 2x plus 5 to 24 because they are just equal. Now, manipulating it further, we have 2x equals 24 minus 5. So, we have 2x equals 19. And the final answer would be x equals 19 halves. And that is the value of x in the given problem. Let's move on. The next property states that the opposite angles of isosceles trapezoid are supplementary. Now, let's recall the concept of supplementary. If the sum of the measures of two angles is 180 degrees, then the two angles are supplementary. So, the two angles should measure 180 degrees, so that we can say that they are supplementary to each other. So, angle A and angle C are opposite angles. So we can say that they are supplementary. And also, so since they are supplementary to each other, we can expect that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. And also, angles B and D are also opposite angles. So we can expect that they are also supplementary to each other. Hence, the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle D is also equal to 180 degrees. For example, let's say the value or the measure of angle A is 115 degrees. How can we know the other angles here? Now, since the opposite angles are supplementary, we can say that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. So we have, by algebraic manipulation, we have the measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees minus the measure of angle A. So by substitution, we have this measure of angle A equals 115 degrees. So by subtracting it, we have 65 degrees. So we expect that this angle here is 65 degrees. And we know the fact that these are base angles, C and D and A and B. We can expect that this is also 115 degrees and this is 65 degrees. How about this one? Let's say isosceles trapezoid MATH. We find the value of M. They are opposite angles, so therefore their sum is 180 degrees. So we can have 2x plus 25, the value of the measure of angle H, plus the measure of angle A is 2x minus 10 equals 180. So we combine similar terms, x plus 2x equals 3x, and 25 minus 10 equals 15 equals 180. So 180 minus 15 is 165. So dividing both sides by 3, we could have x equals 55. So therefore, the value of x here is 55. Thank you so much, and I hope you learned something.